Hello, everyone. I'd like to welcome you all to today's Advisicon Academy training. My name is Amanda Carlson. I'm the marketing coordinator here at Advisicon. We are a group of authors, teachers, consultants, and technologists offering training in the Microsoft technologies, project management, and methodology. With attending any of our training sessions, we offer PDUs as we are a registered education provider with the Project Management Institute. At the close of today's session, I will give some instruction on how to claim your PDUs and how to contact Advisicon for any questions you may have. Now, before we get started, I'd like to go over a few things so you know how to participate in today's event. If you'd review the control panel that should be on the top right of your screen, the audience is muted during this session, so in order to ask a question, you will need to submit them in the questions window of the control panel. This webinar will be recorded and uploaded on the Advisicon YouTube channel for those who could not attend today's session live. Please note that any questions or comments submitted will not display in the recording, nor will any of your personal information be shared. It's now my pleasure to introduce today's instructor, Dave BENTZ, Advisicon's PMO lead. So without further ado, I will hand this presentation over and we can get started.
Thanks, Amanda. Welcome, everyone. We're really glad to have you guys here today and hope to be able to share some information to kind of clear up some of those challenging questions around tools and what to be used when. And so that's kind of what we try to do here. So as Amanda mentioned, I'm the Project Management Office lead here at Advisicon. I'm also one of our project advisors and implementation experts. So I work in the Microsoft toolset and other technologies, help people solve problems with their questions related to project management and which technologies to use. And I just love helping people figure out what's the right way to solve a problem for them. There is no such thing as a one-size-fits-all tool, and so we all need something that fits specifically our needs. Which takes us into today's agenda. We're going to look at kind of a brief overview of Microsoft's project management tools. We're going to focus on Microsoft's tools today because we have a fairly limited time here. There's a lot of tools out there, but we want to kind of just focus on that, and particularly Microsoft's new service called Project for the Web, which was released this last fall in October. So we're going to be looking at that versus Microsoft's Planner tool, which has been part of the Office 365 suite for a couple of years now, and kind of look at the different use cases for when to use which of these tools. We'll spend a little bit of time as in a live demo looking at the different tools, as well as having some Q&A. As we look across Microsoft's modern work management suite, there's kind of that whole gamut of tasks and tool management systems, from Microsoft Project and the new Project for the Web for managing larger projects and portfolios, Planner for teamwork, Teams is the collaboration portal that's kind of bringing everything together, Power BI to bring that analytics and the ability to understand what's happening across your data. If you're doing more software development work, you might be working in Azure DevOps. As far as the boards go, To-Do is Microsoft's latest personal task management tool, as well as Workplace Analytics, which is a new AI-driven tool that's kind of part of the Outlook suite to kind of give you information related to your calendars and your email habits and kind of help you see where you're spending your time and where to possibly do it more effectively. Before we continue, I'm going to do a quick poll here just to kind of see what folks in the audience here are using, just to kind of see who might be using some different tools here. So as you see here, we just want to look at what are you currently using to manage your projects? Are we looking, folks, anybody who is currently using Project for the Web? Are you using the more traditional Project Online, Project Server, Planner, classic sticky notes, paper? All right, we got some responses coming in here. Looks like a good number of you are using Project Online, Project Server right now, so that's good. We can talk a little bit about how Project for the Web is kind of changing some of that, and a good number of Planner users here. Looks like we're kind of wrapping up here. I will give a few seconds more if you haven't answered. So, all right, so we'll go ahead and close that poll so we can get back to our presentation here. Thanks for connecting in that. That's really helpful to kind of know where people are coming from. We'll get back over here into the slide deck here. So in Microsoft's world, there's kind of a hierarchy of task and project management tools. Some of you might have seen something similar to this before, as has been kind of updated with the new tool set. As we look, kind of the upper right-hand section of the slide there is showing kind of the more sophisticated project portfolio management tool sets that are connected to, say Project Online, maybe something that's, individual projects that have a lot more complexity. You might still be using Project Desktop as a standalone. In kind of that more medium complexity, ad hoc teams, something a little bit maybe more on the informal side of the project management, lightweight, small projects, maybe agile software projects that don't require the more rigid implementation of, say, something working in DevOps. You might be using something like Project for the Web or Planner. Microsoft is trying to get Project for the Web as their new tool that's going to gradually take over this right-hand side of the spectrum here, but as it stands today, it's sitting kind of in that realm that's actually fairly similar to the space that Planner is sitting at. As we look at a quick feature comparison here, you can see on this grid kind of where some of, there's a lot of features that are across, what you can get with Project Online, Project Server, Project for the Web, as well as Planner. And we see that very quickly, they all support resource assignments, task management, and kind of a Kanban board view. But then when we start getting into being able to do the grid view of interconnected tasks, Gantt view of the timeline, any task dependencies, that's when we start looking at that's where kind of the break point is between using Microsoft Planner versus using Project for the Web. And as we look at Project for the Web in its current state, there are some features that haven't been implemented yet, like baselines, being able to track schedule variances, being able to display, customize the timelines to show the critical path, although Project for the Web does give you the ability to see driving predecessors in your schedule. And if you need to be able to do enterprise resource demand and capacity management, that's something that you would still need Project Server, Project Online for, as well as being able to manage your programs and portfolios of projects. As we'll see in a little bit, there's a limited workaround for Project for the Web using Power BI to report across all of your projects, and we'll show that a bit more in the demo. Kind of, we look very quickly here, kind of a pros and cons for Planner. Planner is obviously its biggest drive, and the reason why so many people are starting to use it is it's included for free with most Office 365 licenses now. So if you have Office 365, you probably have Planner, which makes it really easy to get into and easy to distribute across your teams. It's very highly configurable for your team's work stream within the context of being able to set up to group and filter your tasks by buckets, by assignments, using labels, as well as task status for work, as well as even priority, being able to classify tasks and group them and manage them according to each of these pieces. And Planner is being developed pretty regularly. There's new features coming out on an almost monthly basis still. And it also integrates very well with Teams, Microsoft's Teams collaboration portal, and has a dedicated mobile app. In fact, the Planner app for Teams is the #1 added app in Teams. So across all the different apps that are used in Teams, Planner is the most frequently added one. Now, a couple limitations for Planner, which is definitely something that's to be considered when you're looking at whether or not you want to use Planner for your work management, is you can't create dependencies between tasks. So there's no way to set up Planner to where you can show, this task must complete before this task can, and these tasks are dependent on this one being completed first. So that's one limitation. Planner doesn't currently support native reporting from Power BI, so there are a couple of workarounds that are fairly complex that can allow you to get that data exported, but in general, it's kind of difficult. It's not straight up easy to get that data out across multiple Planner boards. And as we'll see, there's also not a very easy way to see your teammates' assignments across different Planner boards if you're working in multiple teams. And right now there is no work effort tracking for resources. So what we mean by this is I can assign resources to a task, but I can't track how much time they're spending on the task. Project for the Web is Microsoft's move towards a modern project management system. They kind of took the concept of project management with the tools and their experience working with something like Project Desktop and said this tool is great, it's super powerful, but it's also got 20 years worth of code base underneath it, and it's really getting hard to bring it into the modern user interface world. And so they started from scratch building this new tool. And so Project for the Web, as it's been released and as it currently stands here today at the beginning of 2020, does support creating task dependencies and assigning work effort. You can put resources on a task and say how much effort's going to be, happening with that based on the task duration. We can manage tasks in a grid view, similar to how we're used to doing it in Project Desktop, or even in a timeline view where we can see, the Gantt chart kind of view. Additionally, we can view and manage the tasks in a board view, grouping by buckets, progress and finish dates. This is very similar to how Planner works with it, but as we'll see, there's a couple, as it stands today, there's a few limitations in Project for the Web, features that haven't been added yet that are currently in Planner. Project for the Web is part of Microsoft's new Power Platform in Dynamics, and so it's very easy to report on data from your projects using Power BI, integrating the app with Teams, as well as it's part of the Dynamics 365 CRM platform. And you can easily extend items using Power Automate and Power Apps to build different connection pieces to other applications. And so Microsoft is really kind of positioning Project for the Web as being the central, larger scale project management tool. So now the question for many of us is how quickly is that going to be in that case? And I think we'll start seeing a lot of quick changes happening within the tool, but we're all really excited to see what might be coming next from this as Microsoft continues to move into this space. Limitations, as it stands for Project for the Web, this is an additional user license. So if you're a smaller organization, or cost is obviously always a factor for many groups when they're first starting out with something, there is a per user license cost to using Project for the Web. And so that's kind of going to probably drive a number of folks' decision as whether or not they try to stay with Planner or move to this area. You do have to license your users. And it is still a very new product. I mean, it's only been on the market for about 3 months now, as of today, and it's still missing a lot of features that those of us who are more familiar with Project Desktop or Project Server would be looking for. Being able to add custom fields is currently not available. There's fairly limited things you can do in terms of tracking baselines. So these are both, Project for the Web and Planner are completely web-based tools. They do not have a desktop application that works with them. They work entirely in the cloud. So that's another feature. And right now, Project for the Web is not compatible with Project Desktop. So if you have MPP files that you're working with in Microsoft Project Desktop, Project Online, you won't be able to open them in Project for the Web, and projects created in Project for the Web can't be opened in Project Desktop. Before we get started in this demo, today we're not going to focus as much on setting up projects and planner boards. We will point you back to our YouTube channel. We've done a number of other webinars in Microsoft Planner, and there's 2 playlists, and currently that I would recommend you check out. We have a playlist for previous webinars done on Planner as well as Project, which includes some of the new Project for the Web videos. But with that being said, we're going to jump right on over into the demo here. Bring up my screen. So starting with Microsoft Planner, when you first come to your Office 365 landing page, you see the apps that are available here. If you don't happen to see the Planner app or the Project app in your screen, you can always use the All Apps link here to bring up all of the apps that are available to you as part of your subscription. When we go to Planner, the first thing that we notice is the Planner Hub, which is kind of that landing page that shows me all of the Planner boards that I'm currently a member of or have favorited. And then down below, I can see other boards that are available to me, either that I have visited recently or all public plans that are available in our organization. For those who aren't as familiar with Planner, when we look at the Planner board here, this kind of structure is set up to where there's Planner structured with these buckets, where we can see we've got these to do, we've labeled these are all customizable in terms of what you can name them. The tasks, as we can see here, you can also put images and graphics into your tasks. We can have checklists that are associated with them. We can also group the tasks. There's assignments. As we bring open one of these tasks, we can see that there's also these labels that are available, which you can customize the name on any of these. And the really handy part about Planner, particularly if you're working in more of an agile form or function. I'll bring up another demo board that I have here, is we can kind of look in a very simple manner of saying, hey, we've got backlog, we've got our block tasks, we might be working in different sprints here, and then maybe I've set up my labels to kind of be the different phases that are part of different aspects of the project. And so because of the ability that I have to group tasks, I can, over in the upper right corner of Planner where it says group by, right now we're grouping by the bucket, but if I wanted to look at, say, who's got tasks assigned, I can see the list of tasks that are assigned to the various people on my team. I can see tasks that aren't currently assigned. I can pick one of these tasks and either assign it to someone in my team who's not currently showing up here. So maybe if I wanted to put Maria on this task here, we'll now see that Maria shows up in this column. I can also quickly drag tasks and assign them to the various people. And we can see now that all of the tasks have been appropriately assigned. One of the powerful features in Planner when we're grouping and breaking things apart by buckets versus labels is I also have the ability to filter tasks. So if I want to look at, say, tasks in these various pieces, but I want to see only tasks that are of a priority, important, and urgent, we can see just those tasks. And maybe I want to add in tasks, only tasks that are part of the current sprint and in the backlog as I'm looking towards planning through. So you can see how if you had a larger board with a lot of tasks, being able to filter and group these can quickly allow you to be able to manage your work, your stream here. And then as we're kind of monitoring this as a PM or even someone else on the team, we see up in the top, we can go to charts and very quickly see the status of the various tasks within the project. In fact, let's go back to that biothermal project because this is a little bit more developed. We can see quickly there, we've got some tasks that are completed, not started. We can see what buckets are containing tasks that are still in progress and the priority level of those tasks. And down below, we can also see the current assignment level of who's got the most tasks, who's late on their tasks. And this can be kind of a helpful way of quickly looking at this and saying maybe April might be a little over allocated. And as I see down here, Kevin and Jeff aren't doing anything according to this project plan. And so maybe we could look at, is it possible to reassign some of these tasks to someone else so that we can get the work done? The schedule view in Planner does allow you to see tasks that have been put on the calendar if they have a start. It bases it on their start and finish date. Now this project goes back a little ways into the past. But as we mentioned before, it doesn't support any linkages between the tasks. So these tasks are just simply listed on the calendar, and these are showing up in red because they're late. And we can see over here that this task is in progress. It's got the little half circle icon here, but that's about all we can tell from this view. Project, by contrast, if we go over here, this is the project homepage. If you click the project link from your Office 365, and some of you may be familiar with this if you've used Project Online. You can see down at the bottom here, and we can go to Project Online. That'll take you to the Project web app, which is not to be confused with Project for the Web. It's an unfortunate choice of names that they've used at the Microsoft team, but across here, you can see I've favorited a couple of plans, and we'll just jump right over here to this project, and we have to refresh this page to continue our work here. And as this loads back up, we'll notice that we have kind of a more traditional grid view of our tasks where we have various summary tasks with some subtasks here. We can actually have multiple levels of subtasks within it. We can roll these up, collapse them so that we're only seeing them. Within the task itself, we can set the duration, level of work effort, start dates. We can also list which bucket they're a part of, and then dependencies, so which tasks they depend on and which tasks come after. So this is for folks who are familiar with project, this would be predecessors and successors. And then there's a few more columns that are available here. We can show work remaining, amount of work completed, and the outline number. But as we can see here, compared to Project Desktop, this is still very lean. There's only a handful of fields that are available here, and there's not currently a support for custom fields. But similar to Planner, we also have a board view here. So we can see this board. This looks fairly similar to how Planner is set up, to where we have buckets that we can rename. We can also add additional buckets here. We can add tasks directly to these buckets. And once we've added these tasks and we can drill into the task, we can update any of this information here, which will show and connect to the rest of the project plan. We can see here under the dependents section, this shows which task this is a successor of, and whether or not that particular dependency is a driving dependency. So we might have multiple tasks that connect and only one of them is actually driving it. So if we look here, for example, this project has a timeline view where there's multiple. Okay, hold on, as it reloads here. We have a couple of different tasks that are also associated to this successor. So if I pull up this task and I look at it and I can see it depends on the finish date of that prior task, but you see it's not driving because there's actually multiple dependencies that are connected to it. So we hope to see some additional improvement of being able to actually display a critical path in the schedule view in the near future, but as of today, it's not available. Compared to Planner, some of the board view organization is a little bit more limited. We can only group by buckets, progress, and finish date, and there's no way to filter the tasks as it stands right now. So it would cause, you'd need to restructure things a little bit differently to work this, but this is a quick way to be able to do sprint planning. And also, once you've done that planning, it does impact the grid if you're using start and finish dates. As we mentioned earlier, the other advantage to Project for the Web is its connection to Power BI. So what we have here is a sample Power BI report pack that we often deploy here at Advisicon that's based off of some of the standard reports that come out of Microsoft. So you can see here is a portfolio dashboard that's showing all of the projects that are currently in our environment, where they're at as far as the overall project status, how much work, total work hours are remaining, and how much of it's been completed. I can also group and filter this by project manager. So if I want to see just the projects that I'm working on, here's all of my projects and where we're at in terms of how much has been completed, when it's scheduled to be finished, which tasks are overdue, which ones are on task, and which ones are late. We have the ability to see multiple projects in a timeline, which will show basically when these projects are lining out and how long they're lasting and who's the project manager for each one of them. We have the ability to look at milestones. The resource dashboard shows kind of basically where the tasks are and who's assigned to them at a high level, but maybe I want to just see my work. So I want to look at the tasks that are assigned to just me. And here's the tasks that I have that are assigned to me. Actually, this is defaulted right now. It's set at Sarah Davis, but I can change it to myself to see all the tasks that I'm assigned to and where I'm at status-wise. And so if I want to see, show me all my overdue tasks, we can see that quickly here. This gives some flexibility and power to compare back to if we jump back over to Planner. In Planner, the analog for that for my task would be going back here to this My Tasks list, which will show all the tasks that I'm working on and the current status. But being able to report on it in Power BI does give us some additional flexibility. As I mentioned too, the ability is also there to bring all this into teams. So if I'm working in a team, I have a channel here set up in this team. For those of you who are using Teams, we can see here, I've put a link in this tab here to go straight to the project plan, which will load up that project plan that we were looking at just a little bit earlier. This is a direct link, so I can make any of the changes in here. I also have access to that planner board. where we can manage the planner board within the work stream. In the post section, if you want to have a conversation around a task or something, we can just simply link to a particular task in the project schedule or in the planner board. And then we could have a dialogue here around that and then still be able to reference that particular task in the planner. All right. So to summarize kind of what we've been going over today, Microsoft offers a lot of different tools and different applications, and the focus for all of these tools is the ability to collaborate and work together as a team to accomplish projects. Kind of in that planner versus project for the web conversation, both of these tools are lightweight project management tools that excel in helping teams manage projects quickly. But planner is really there for when you need that lightweight, inexpensive, feature-rich task management and the easy collaboration, mobile-friendly access. We recommend stepping into project for the web as soon as you need to be able to track dependencies and have a timeline view for your tasks and to be able to track work effort on your projects. So that's kind of, at least at the highest level, where we kind of start that conversation of whether planner or project for the web is right for you. And then obviously for folks that are working in groups that have a more of an enterprise project portfolio management needs, we still recommend Project Online. It is definitely the premier tool for being able to manage portfolios. All right, Amanda, do we have any questions?
We do. We have one here. It says, do you recommend using Trello over Planner?
That's a good question. So Trello and Planner are very similar tools, and they both have a fair bit of integration. I think, generally speaking, I recommend Planner for organizations that are already in Office 365 because Planner is included with all your licensing. There's no additional costs. Trello has a free version that's available to folks, but if you're using it in a team and you want to be able to have a more robust connection, you end up having to pay additional licensing there. Feature set wise, there's a handful of things that Trello does that Planner doesn't. Some of the UI graphics and animation pieces, some of the additional backgrounds and things, but I think overall their feature set is very similar. So if you're familiar with Trello and you're using Office 365 in your office, I'd really recommend trying out Planner. I think you'll find it to be very similar. And Planner is so natively ingrained with the Microsoft Office suite. We didn't demo it today, but any of the tasks that are assigned to you also show up in the Microsoft To Do app. And so you can basically, if you're using To Do to manage your Outlook tasks and other personal tasks, you can also use it to bring in tasks from Planner. So generally speaking, if you stay in the Microsoft suite, is that you can very quickly and easily grab that data into other tools.
Great. And I think we have time for one more. This one says, the Power BI dashboard you showed, is that a template that is easily plugged into Project Server?
Yes, so there's two pieces to that. So that that report pack that we have there is something that, as I showed it, is something that Power BI file could be connected to a new environment, and once you had the credentials and the authentication logged in, it would automatically pull down that data. Now that particular report was connected to the project for the web data. We have similar content packs and similar report and dashboards that we use that do connect to Project Online. Project Server is a little bit trickier if you're using an on-premise version because the Power BI is designed to work in the cloud, but there is an on-premise version of Power BI Server that can be deployed. So depending on your use case, there are a couple of ways that can be addressed. But at a high level, the answer is yes, that is a fairly easy to connect template on the Power BI side.
Great. Well, that looks like we're out of time. So thank you everyone for attending today's webinar. We welcome your questions and feedback, and for more information, you can email us at contact@advisicon.com. Once you exit today's webinar, you will receive a survey on this presentation, and you will need to complete and submit that survey in order to receive your PDUs. From there, you will receive a follow-up email within 2 business days with your PDU information. If you're watching this recording on YouTube or another social media platform, please be sure to like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any future uploads. And on behalf of Advisicon, Dave, and myself, we thank you for joining us today, and we hope to see you participate in future webinars. Have a great day, everyone.